being a safe place for people should be something that a leader would aspire to. And that doesn't mean you're Father Flanagan or their rabbi or their priest or their holy man. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But we all take on a persona of a little bit of therapist, a little bit of friend, which is hard in corporate America, because maybe that's all the people got. Maybe they don't have that at home.
Welcome to Leadership and Motivation Unleashed, practical leadership for modern workplaces. A podcast where we explore actionable strategies to help you lead with confidence, build cohesive teams, and create thriving workplace cultures.
We're here for the career-focused professionals climbing the corporate ladder, the managers navigating team dynamics, and the leaders shaping the future of work. In each episode, we'll break down challenges, share practical advice, and leave you with insights you can apply today.
I'm Patrick Law, your co-host, a Gulf War veteran with over 26 years of corporate leadership experience in banking and payments, blending precision and innovation with a tad of passion to solve big challenges.
And I'm Rachel Book, a C-suite trusted advisor and an HR leader with 2 decades of experience at Fortune 50 companies, specializing in building people-first strategies and driving impactful talent solutions.
Together, Rachel and I, we combine operational expertise and transformational leadership to bring you real-world advice on leadership, workplace culture, team dynamics, career growth, and anything else that we may want to delve into.
So, if you're ready to take your career and leadership skills to the next level, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Leadership and Motivation Unleashed. What we are here to talk about today is a tough topic. Today, we're going to talk about how, as leaders, we can support our teams when the going gets tough. It could be when somebody is going through a really, really hard time personally, and they choose to share it with us. Or it could be when things are really tough at the company. It could be that somebody made a big mistake. It could be your company is having financial challenges. It could be there's a big challenge up ahead and there really isn't a resolution in sight. So as leaders, what is our role? How do we be there for our teams on a personal and professional level? How do we serve as a stabilizing force, maintaining focus on what matters most while still being human and caring for people as they go through a hard time? Patrick, tell us, what are your thoughts on this topic?
You know, we glanced off of this in a prior episode, and I talked about authenticity and transparent and being self-aware. And you mentioned how some leaders act like they're robots or they act in a leadership way that they think is what leadership is, not what they think leadership is. Like they try to parrot others, and maybe they shouldn't, right? And if an employee is struggling personally or professionally, if they don't think you're authentic, if they don't think you're real, in quotes, then they won't share it. And I remember the first 2 places I worked, we didn't do employee surveys. And I don't know if it was the places or the time, like late 90s, early 00s. I don't remember anyone ever saying, hey, how's the employee satisfaction going? I just don't. Maybe it was the customer. Maybe it was the companies I was at, and I'm not dogging them. I love my time there. Or it was the time on Earth, and that type of stuff didn't come out until the new genre of leaders started to enter corporate America and wanted to know how people felt about where they worked. I don't know. That's another episode probably. But when I got to U.S. Bank, there was an unofficial survey that the division that I was entering did. And they called it, "Are we making progress?" And if any of them are listening, they'll be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he remembers that." But it was just an informal thing. The bank didn't even approve of it. I don't think HR knew it was happening. It was just the division of the company that wanted to know. And the employees took it upon themselves to do it because they wanted the workplace to be good and they wanted to know. Good for them. So the first survey, I read the survey results because I took over the teams after the acquisition. I went up, this was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Go up. One of the first things, this guy by the name of John Domer, good man, was the one running the survey. And he was like, "Patrick, I want you to see this page." And like transparency, open and honest two-way communication, we're all like 10% or below. Horrible. A lot of other scores were
Yikes.
high. Like, we get a lot done. Our customers are happy. But apparently, no one in the place trusted anybody. Or not trust, guys, I don't like the T word, but they didn't appreciate or didn't understand or didn't feel or see open and honest two-way communication. So I went to work on that. And Rachel, you know me, but like then that would have been 2005. You can do the math in your head. I just went right into it face first. And I'm an open, honest person. Whether you like it or not, you're going to hear what I think. You don't have to agree with it. You could hate it. You may love it. I don't know, but no one is confused where I stand ever. So it was like the perfect entry for me. Oh, you don't do open and honest two-way communication here? Let me demonstrate it. So I started demonstrating it. Ready or not?
Ready or not.
And people are like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. I'm like, I'm not crazy. We should tell the truth. And does it come with maybe too much velocity and passion sometimes? Sure. But it's the truth. And it started to chip away and the veil started to come down. Now, it didn't go away completely. Some cultures you can't fix because the amount of damage or years of certain behaviors, maybe you need to, run through new leadership or new people to get out the old behaviors or the mental imagery of, oh, I can't say that, I'll get in trouble behaviors. But you got to start there. Like, is there enough faith in the environment that what you say won't be used against you personally, professionally, politically, whatever? If that veil starts to drop a little bit and it's for a good reason, you're not up to something, you're authentic in your approach, you genuinely want to help people, people will share what they're going through with you. If the environment isn't aware or comfortable sharing, or you've abused the trust or respect of the information the person gave you, they're not going to come back. And the wall will go up. So if somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm struggling with so-and-so, or I'm struggling with something, and I would go repeat that. Or, hey, Johnny, Sally came to me. She's really having a problem with you. Now they're both going to wonder what I'm saying in other places. Leaders can't be talking about people behind their back. And that sounds gross, but I just mean, and I know we're not in high school. I'm just saying that if someone's going to have the confidence you to share something they're struggling with, then keep their confidence. It isn't helpful for you to go somewhere else with that confidence and share it. Even if you think you're doing right by the person, it paints a picture of discord or distrust or that you're not loyal to your word. And people do need a safe place. Like, work is hard. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the military or a bank or a tire company or a medical device company or a telecommunications company, it's a bunch of human beings that are navigating life, coming together to do really complex and hard things. And not everyone's always in a good place. And maybe, and this gets a little deep, but maybe work is their safe place. Maybe home isn't so great. I've heard really sad stories about marriages, about sick parents, about sick children, about sick selves, or name it. Like, you don't do these jobs as long as I've done them, you've done them, without hearing some really sad things. Life is sad and hard sometimes. Enjoy the moment you get, right? But there's a lot of sadness, and work for a lot of people is a place where they can get lost for a couple hours a day and they can accomplish something. They feel accomplished. So as leaders, creating a culture or an environment of confidence in communication and a willingness to not just listen to them, but hear them. Like, I'm a believer that there's good listeners and there's good hearers. Mm-hmm. And can you be both? I've not always been good at either. My brain is moving so fast and so quick. I've turned people off because I'm answering the question in my head before they're even done talking. And by the way, that doesn't make me right. Sometimes my answers aren't right. It's just my brain does that. It snaps to a conclusion. That's not hearing them. Because if I'm too busy calculating, thinking, then I'm actually not hearing their purpose or their intent or what they need. There's a version of leadership that if you have a little bit of narcissistic tendencies in you, you're not going to be a good listener. because it's about you. Leadership should really be about the other person. Now, I am very open with my struggles as a leader because of the person I am. I'm ready, shoot, aim. Right? Like I don't always follow the sequence properly, and that puts people off. That could create an environment where open and honest two-way communication isn't comfortable because they're like, Patrick's just going to have the answer anyway. Why bother? I've experienced that in my career. So being a safe place for people should be something that a leader would aspire to. And that doesn't mean you're Father Flanagan or their rabbi or their priest or their holy man. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. But we all take on a persona of a little bit of therapist, a little bit of friend, which is hard in corporate America, because maybe that's all the people got. Maybe they don't have that at home. You got to have your filters open to understand. That doesn't mean you're a bleeding heart for everything. We're here to grow a business. But it doesn't have to be cold and ugly all the time. There's human beings that have blood coursing through their veins and feelings and thoughts. That's why I always say leadership is exhausting.
Yes.
Because if you're going to open your filters to be there for people so they can share openly, to be more effective at their job, maybe give them a little life lessons on occasion. I've received great life lessons from my bosses along the years. It had nothing to do with my job. They just cared.
Yeah.
They could tell I was struggling with something. So anyway, there's a balance, but you got to be able to create an environment, whether it's a team of 5 or a team of 5,000, that they know it's okay to speak your mind professionally and politely. You'll be respected for it, actually.
We pick our topics based on what we imagine is on the minds of many, but we are not mind readers. So please use our form, which we'll link for you in the show notes, to suggest additional topics we should consider, request to be a guest on our show, or give us constructive criticism, which will make our podcast more valuable for many. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah, it's true. And, we've talked on previous episodes about when people are going through stuff, right, personally, professionally, they bring it with them to work. And sometimes that shows up in terrible places. And an employee might confide in you as a leader and share what they're going through. And then you'll say, oh, now it all makes sense. Now I know why they're being snippy at people or why they keep disappearing. And there's a way it's hard, but there's a way to acknowledge what they're going through, show them that you care, listen to their pain, and also tell them what you expect of them, right? Also tell them, but it's still not okay to do this. Or it sounds like you may need some time off. Should we talk about that, right? And that's an area where, as a leader, action might be expected of you. They may want you to help them, or you may need to, even if they don't want to, because as a leader, you have responsibility for your company, for other people that are impacted by this person going through a hard time. And you might need to step up and have that tough conversation. There may be some other times where somebody comes to you and shares, and they don't necessarily want you or need you to fix it. Sometimes as leaders, we get into fix it mode right away. And that's sometimes when, right, we might jump the gun and have all kinds of solutions when sometimes there is no solution, especially if it's a personal issue or if it's something that will take a really, really long time to resolve itself. And sometimes they just want us to hear. And that's a perfect example of a situation when we should be expected to maintain their confidentiality. We should clarify with them in our own way and in our own style what their expectations are. Is there something I can do to help you? It sounds like this is really hard. I'm always here to listen. And then watch for their cues to see if they're looking for something more, if they ask follow-up questions, if they might seem open to a suggestion. But sometimes they just want you to hear them out, right?
I've given people that work for me, call it permission. I don't mean it as weird as that may sound, but when you're coming at me, say, Patrick, I don't need you to do anything.
Yes.
Because I'm the guy you just described. Like, oh, I know what to do. And people are like, no, you're going to make it worse. Yeah. And I'm okay hearing that. Now, there was a time in my career I didn't like that. Like, no, my way. Now, that was my first 10 years. But around 15 years ago, I woke up and I want people to say that to me. No action, Patrick. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. And you know what? That builds an air of transparency that's good for everybody. Like, okay, Patrick's not mad that I told him don't do anything. He's going to make it worse. Well, it's okay. I'm okay to hear it because you know what? They're right. My idea isn't the best way. So as a leader, everyone needs to know your ideas may not work.
Yeah. And so as an employee, if you're sharing something with your leader, and it's awesome if you have that safe, comfortable place to do so, use your words, right? As we tell our kids in kindergarten, use your words and say, hey, I'm just talking to you. I just need you to listen here. Or I may need your help, but give me a day or two to try this or that, right? Let them know what you need so that they don't, jump into it or share it unnecessarily. And if you're a leader, you should do the same thing. Use your words too. So if an employee confides in you and shares and you're like, oh gosh, that sounds really bad. And then part of you in your brain is thinking, oh, I might be able to help. Ask them. Say, I know you told me to maintain your confidence and I will respect that. But I think I might have an idea. If I share maybe even a little bit of what you told me with this and this person, I think we might be able to resolve that. Is that okay? And then see what they say.
There's always a part two to that. Like, I don't want everyone thinking, and no one should think, whether about me or yourselves, that you don't do anything with the information you receive. You just have to be thoughtful with it. Sometimes in meetings, people who have been with me the longest, and look at the last couple of places, some people were with me for 20 years. Like, you just kind of get to know. We are creatures of habit, what humans are. So people kind of just got into a groove of knowing what I was thinking or doing. So sometimes there's words unspoken at a certain point, but not everybody gets that opportunity. Some people drift in out of organizations every couple of years. There's no continuity of awareness of people's behaviors with that short amount of time. But part two of this, or the next step of all this, is sometimes I know the answer to the question before I ask it. And that doesn't mean I'm right. It just means, like, in a public setting, in a safe place, based on what I've been getting fed, I may drop something in the middle of the table, not to stir up mess, but to say, hey guys, have we thought of this? Because maybe that person isn't comfortable bringing it to the table.
Yeah.
Or they don't think they're heard. So if I bring it and make it about the group, hey guys, did you think about this? Just an idea. I've heard pieces and parts of this from many people. There's something to it if it keeps coming up. Even though I may have heard it from one person, there's a nuance to the English language that you can deliver information to a crowd without singling the person out, seeking the help that had the idea. And that comes from experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm naturally a bull in the china shop, but in some of these discussions, when you're building confidence with another human being, you can't vomit in the middle of the table something that wasn't meant to be. So you got to get pretty nuanced with the English language to get what you want out in the world for others or for yourself without making people feel bad about it or you broke someone's confidence.
So true.
That's a version of leadership too.
So true. So we can go on for hours about this, but a few quick takeaways as we wrap this up is, in order to make sure that your team feels comfortable confiding in you and that they tell you when these tough things are happening, whether it's personally or professionally, got to respect their confidentiality. And you also have to show them, in the cases where it's appropriate, that you plan to do something about it. Because if people keep coming to you and telling you that there's problems and nothing ever changes, they're just going to stop coming to you, and then you won't know about it, which isn't going to help anything.
And that's bad. When silence overtakes you like the fog.
Oh, yes. Especially when you sense that there's something brewing under the scenes. So first of all, know that those two components are really important. And then on the other hand, whether you're a leader or you're an employee and you are confiding or you are the confidant, I don't think confidee is a word. Ask, right? Listen, show that you care, or pretend that you care, even if you don't, and then ask for clarification on what they'd like you to do with it, right? So that you, again, don't go and break those confidences or not do what they might be expecting, but may not be communicating clearly. So I think we should have a follow-up on this because there's a lot more to talk about here. But thank you for joining us. More to come, as always.
There always is more to talk about. Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Leadership and Motivation Unleashed. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review. It only takes 1 minute and it helps the show grow and reach more leaders like you in search of advice and motivation.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Please remember to share with your friends and family and coworkers, mentors, trusted advisors. This show is for everybody. See you next time.